everyone, and welcome to my video on how to make a month's worth of freezer meals in a day. Today I'll be showing you step by step how to make a month's worth of freezer meals in just one day.
Hello and welcome to Mama Belle's home. I am so glad you are here. If you're new to my channel, my name is Cassidy. I am a homeschooling mama to 7 kiddos. And today they are all still asleep. It's super early in the morning because we have a very busy day ahead of us and a lot to do. And so I'm trying to get all of this done before anybody even wakes up, at least for an hour or two. So I have my coffee, I have my AirPods. This morning I am getting started before I do my Bible study or anything. So I'm going to be listening to the Bible app, like the Audible version, while I do all of this. I have my list here of all of the things that we will be making. And so in this video we're going to be working on just preparing and getting some freezer meals assembled and filling my freezer up with them. I have noticed come dinner time I am either exhausted or it's just there's a lot going on. And with 7 kiddos, 9 of us living in this house, like obviously there's a lot going on, right? And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my apron on, I'm gonna pop my AirPod in, and I am going to gather up all that we need so that we can get started in this.
So the first step in making a month's worth of freezer meals is creating the menu, coming up with the list of meals that you want to make. I'm going to be focusing on dinner choices in my video here, so it might be a little bit different for you, but I chose 13 different of my family favorite dinner meals that are easy to cook, whether it's just grabbing it and tossing it in the crock pot in the morning or cooking it in the oven or Instapot. I bought enough of my ingredients for 2 of each of the meal options that I chose for my large family. It may be a little bit different for you. You might have smaller meals. Just keep that in mind. Now that we have our meal choices and I've done the shopping, we're going to go ahead and gather up all of our ingredients and things that we need. I also bought these new flat bottom Ziploc bags. You might have already seen them, but they're new to me and I want to try and see if they work better than the regular ones. I find that it's much easier to label before you fill up the bags, so I went ahead and already used a Sharpie marker to label what I'm going to be making. I'm starting with all of the chicken ones first, so that's what I labeled already, and then as I go I'll continue to label. There are some casserole dish pans that I'll just be writing on the aluminum foil, so I highly suggest labeling it pre-ingredients, but you can also label it after. Just make sure that you label it because you want to know what you're going to be making when you need to pull them out of the freezer. First up on my list is the sweet and sour chicken. This is super easy to assemble, you guys. I'm not even joking. I tried to do easy, fast, delicious recipes, and so I just went ahead and I divvied out the chicken thighs that I had, the raw ones. I did run out, so I ended up using some frozen chicken breasts, but really not a problem. And I think I used like 6 to 8 chicken thighs each, probably on the higher side, like 8. So just kind of use that guide for your family size. And then I found some really convenient frozen bags of the peppers and onions. I think they're used for stir fry or fajitas, but I'm just going to go ahead and toss them in with the chicken because that's going to work instead of me having to chop it all up myself. And then I just used a pre-made Kikkoman's sweet and sour sauce. It's not my favorite one, but it will do in a crunch. Having the chicken pot pie filling bags ready to go is so great because you can either use it like a chicken pot pie you normally would. There's even a lazy way of doing a chicken pot pie and just putting pie crust over it like a casserole. I also like to serve it sometimes over just mashed potatoes or do it like chicken and dumplings where you put in biscuits and then it adds that little bit of carb to thicken up and stretch the meal a little bit. These are super easy. It's literally just chicken, a bag of frozen peas and carrots, some cream of chicken soup, and some chicken broth. As you see, my little helper here, Layla, she's my 9-year-old. She likes to get in the kitchen with me when she can, and she was the first one up, so she wanted to help out, and that's what we're doing. Then after we get those ones together, we're going to go ahead and start working on the cilantro lime chicken with black beans and corn. Again, another very easy recipe to put together. You're just going to do your chicken thighs, some lime juice, cilantro. I added a little bit of garlic and salt and pepper to it. So it's super easy. It smelled delicious. I love cilantro. Not everybody is a cilantro fan, but there's some cilantro in that. And then a can of black beans and corn in each bag. Next up is the creamy green chili chicken. Now you can go ahead and forego the creamy, which is the cream of chicken soup, and have more of just like a green salsa chicken, which is also really good. But for my family, I'm going to go ahead and do creamy. This is just cream of chicken soup, some green salsa. This Hertz one is my very, very favorite. And then some diced green chilies, which have a very mild taste to them. And then some chicken thighs. Again, this is one of those things that can be super versatile. I like to serve this over rice. It's delicious, but you could also do it as a burrito filling, or nachos would be good too. And then after I get those ones assembled, I have assembled all of the chicken freezer meals and they're labeled, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it in this basket, take it out to the deep freezer, and get those loaded up. I put off doing the cheesy chicken, rice, and broccoli casseroles because I didn't know if I was going to go to the store to get more chicken or if I was just going to use the canned chicken that I have. I ended up using canned chicken, but while I will show you that later, let's go ahead and get into these Pioneer Woman noodle bakes. So like I said, some people call it the Pioneer Woman sour cream noodle bake, but basically it's just ground beef I cooked yesterday in preparation for this video with some onion and garlic. And you put that down, you put some sauce, then you put the noodles, and you're gonna mix up, well, I mix up the sour cream and cottage cheese, but you could just do those separately if you wanted to, and then you're gonna kind of like flatten that out like you're frosting a noodly cake. And then you're gonna sprinkle shredded cheese on that. If you're interested in looking at my grocery haul that I did for this, I did do a video for that showing you all of my groceries that I bought for this and just like family life. I'll link it in the cards here. So like I said, you're going to frost it with the sour cream and cottage cheese. And if you're not a cottage cheese person, don't worry. It is hard to taste in this. I do not like cottage cheese normally, but in this, it is so delicious. And like I said, just top it with some shredded cheddar cheese. I then use parchment paper in between the aluminum foil and the meal. So that way when you're recooking it or cooking it, the cheese doesn't get stuck to the aluminum foil, doesn't mess with it. It makes it just a lot easier and less messy. And then if you just seen that, cut myself an aluminum foil. I did not know that you guys, I've never experienced this, but I definitely did cut myself on aluminum foil. So be careful when you're doing that. And here's my sweet Layla giving me a Band-Aid for that. And then I just go ahead and keep my list in front of me so I'm tracking what I'm doing. Now I'm going to be working on the taco bake. This is literally like a taco in a casserole. I do it just like you would eat a taco. So I go ahead and I do the corn tortillas down first, then the ground beef with the garlic and onion mixture in it. I cooked all the beef together yesterday like I had mentioned, and so I didn't do any individual seasoning and spices on that. I just want you to keep that in mind. I did, however, forget to put the taco seasoning over the meat in this one, and I don't want you guys to do that. So remember to season your beef if you're going to cook it all up at once and then separate it. Make sure you put your seasonings in. After I lay down the corn tortillas and the beef, I then put my black beans over it. I prefer black beans, but you can use whatever you want. And I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit this time, and so I used some canned corn, some cilantro that I had left over because you might as well use up those ingredients, and I trickled a little bit of lime juice on top. It turned out amazing. I just want to let you know we've already eaten one of these. It was super good. And then of course top it with plenty of cheese. And then again, you're going to put the parchment paper down, aluminum foil, label it, and let off to the side it goes. Having the casserole dishes or like these pans, they're a little bit harder if you're doing a lot of freezer meals because you kind of have to let them freeze and set before you set more on top of them. And so I'm over here alternating how I'm stacking them up so they can stack up on top of each other. But I do want you guys to keep that in mind. Doing the Ziploc bags are way easier than doing the casserole dishes. That's why I don't have so many. So as I was going through and assembling these, I was just going off of the list that I had made of the meals that I wanted to do. I wasn't going off of the list of like the way I wanted to assemble, like my plan for attacking these freezer meals. And so I just want to go ahead and let you guys know, don't be like me, don't make this mistake. Go ahead and just write it out what that your plan is, because I definitely was working on those ground beef recipes and missed doing the tater tot casserole. I didn't forget it, I just waited until later to do it, which was not smart. So don't be like me, be better. I'm going to go ahead and start working on these carnita fajitas now. Again, those convenient frozen bags of bell pepper and onion went in, and then some seasoning and spices to make it good. When I cook it, I'll put some like lime juice or orange juice or something else in there to make it more like a carnita type flavor. But I will go ahead and link all of that down in the description for you guys. Now we're going to be working on the smothered pork chops. These are super easy. Again, you're just going to toss in some pork chops, some cream of mushroom, sorry. Cream of mushroom soup. I was trying to be sneaky about it because my kids are not huge fans of cream of mushroom, and I had to have to like sneak it in. They can never tell when I have it in a recipe, but if I mention it, it's like one of those weird things. If they know what's in there, they're not going to like it. If they don't know what's in there, they totally love it and enjoy it. So none of these meals are really complete unless it's like the casseroles. I just want to go ahead and mention that. Most of these I'll serve with either rice or mashed potatoes or over something with a salad. These are just like the main component of the meal that are the more time consuming things to get together. Also, a lot of these are like dump meals where you just like toss it in the Instapot. It just makes it a lot easier when it's all put together and I can just do that one step versus like having to gather everything. And I just want to go ahead and let you guys know that. So like for the smothered pork chops, I will usually serve this over mashed potatoes with like a vegetable or salad on the side. And after I am done cleaning up this spill, I'm going to go ahead, having puppies will keep you on your toes. So now we're going to get ready to do these teriyaki meatballs. I am using frozen meatballs because I didn't really want to take the time to make the meatballs, but normally I will. Again, the puppy's moving my camera. Just bear with me, I'm sorry. The teriyaki meatballs are super easy to make. Again, I'm just using those frozen meatballs. This is the first time I'm using the Panda Express teriyaki marinade. It was good. It was just not my favorite. I have other ones that I prefer, but this is such a super easy meal. It's frozen meatballs, teriyaki sauce. So you go ahead and put it in the Instapot and pressure cook for just a few minutes, maybe 15. And then you put it over some steamed rice with broccoli. It is so good, you guys. It'll be a staple in your home, I promise. Everybody will love it. At least everybody in my household does. And then we're going to go ahead and finally get that tater tot casserole. This is what I was talking about I had missed doing. And I only had enough ground beef for one of these, which is totally fine. We do not need more than one tater tot casserole in a month. And I mixed together a can of cream of chicken and a can of cream of mushroom. I just feel like it kind of gives it a better flavor. And then you top it with your tater tots and, of course, some more shredded cheese. And then you go ahead and use the parchment paper again and aluminum foil. And do not forget to label, and also be careful not to cut yourself on the aluminum foil. Okay, so now that we are done with all of these other recipes, I think we're about an hour and a half into me making a month worth of freezer meals, which is great because if you think about it, an hour and a half, 2 hours is great for a month's worth of meals. So this is the only real prep I had to do besides, like I said, I had cooked the ground beef yesterday, the day prior to this video. And I only had to actually do that because it would not fit into my fridge because I had everything just stuffed in there for this freezer meal. And so I went ahead and just cooked it because it was way easier that way, which wasn't bad, but as you can see, there's kids slowly trickling in, so I was feeling kind of rushed. This is the only prep that I really had to do was cutting up the kielbasa sausage, minus the ground beef that I had cooked the day prior because I could not fit it into my fridge. I had stuffed it packed with all of the things that I needed, all the ingredients that I needed for this video or for these month of freezer meals, and so I had to get that ground beef cooked. So other than ground beef cooking and this sausage cutting up, that was pretty much the only prep I had to do, which is fabulous. Most of it was opening cans and dumping in bags. So now we're going to move on to the cheesy sausage potato bake, or I guess I'm just going to call it a bake. I'm probably going to cook it in the Instapot, but it's still like a bake. Anyways, and then I have like the kielbasa. It's kind of like a jambalaya or a form of it, except for I am not a fan of shrimp, and most of our family is not. We only have a couple people who like shrimp. So I'm foregoing the shrimp, but the other recipe is basically like a jambalaya. With the bags being labeled, I'm just going to go ahead and put a good amount of sausage in each one of these bags. I'm working on the cheesy sausage potato bake is what I'm going to call it for right now until I come up with a better name. If you have a better name, go ahead and link it down or go ahead and put it down in the comments because I would be so appreciative to have a solid name for this. I did run out of the potatoes of brine. I didn't have enough of that, so I went ahead and just used some extra tater tots because I am not above using what I got on hand to make sure that this works. And then it's some cream of mushroom soup that I went ahead and mixed up with some evaporated milk, and then I added in the cheese. We've had this one also already, and it was delicious. I realized when I was putting these last meals together that I had run out of cheese. I almost made it with that huge bag of cheese that I got previously in my Walmart grocery haul. Like I told you, if you guys are interested in that video, I'll have it linked down, probably down in the descriptions too, so you can see like a huge bag. It was a great price, but I did end up running out for this last recipe, so I just went ahead and grabbed a block of cheese that I had in the fridge and went and shredded a little bit just to finish up the recipe. Usually I'll use my KitchenAid like shredding attachment to shred up the cheese because I'll do like 5 block chunks at a time. But this is a small enough amount that I just used my regular old cheese grater. I have this like all-purpose seasoning that I made. I like to go rogue sometimes with my flavorings and seasonings and stuff. If you stick around here, you'll see as I cook, I kind of am what you would call an intuitional type of cook. I don't really stick to a recipe so much as kind of putting my own little spin on it. So if you like a certain seasoning, like maybe you want a little heavier garlic or maybe want to add some paprika, feel free to switch it up and try it out. And now for the last recipe of this month of freezer meals is this like makeshift, I don't know, jambalaya. And so I used the rest of the sausage in there, a good helping of it, as you can see. And then I used a can of red beans in each of the bags. And I went ahead and just went with regular white rice in the bag. I didn't use like the minute rice or any like special rice. Okay, and the only other thing that I had to prepare during this whole month of freezer meals was these bell peppers. I went ahead and just bought a set of the 3 because that was on sale and available again. I used what I have. But it was really easy, and with these new set of knives that my husband got me for Christmas, it made it a really easy job. So I just went ahead and chopped them up loosely, tossed them in the tossed them in the bag. Each one of them had, probably like 1.5 bell peppers worth of bell pepper in there. And then I went ahead and put the seasoning and spices on top of that. And there you have it. We made an entire month's worth of freezer meals all in one day. That was like 2 hours of work that I had in putting these all together. And now I have a month of easy, convenient foods that I can grab and make this busy mama homeschool life a little bit easier. I'm so thankful that you guys came alongside me. And that's it. That's how you make an entire month's worth of freezer meals all in one day. Thanks again for watching and stopping by Mama Belle's home. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.